A barefoot little girl stumbles into a Texas truck stop, her feet bleeding, dress torn, and screams 5 words at a biker gang that turns 100 men silent. They locked my mom in the basement. Her mother is dying in 120-degree heat, trapped for over 24 hours by loan sharks who threaten to take the child next. But what these predators don't know is that hell just arrived on 2 wheels. Before we dive into this story, where are you watching from right now? Drop your city in the comments below. I love seeing where our community is tuning in from across the country. And if you believe in stories where the underdog wins and real heroes still exist, hit that subscribe button right now because we're building something special here. All right. Now let's get into the story of how one desperate plea turned 100 outlaws into a family's last hope. The asphalt outside Buc-ee's was hot enough to fry eggs. Old Tristan Malone could feel the heat radiating through his boots as he stood next to his Road King, one weathered hand resting on the chrome handlebar, the other wiping sweat from his gray beard. Around him, 99 other Thunderhead riders were mounting up. Leather vests creaking, engines growling to life, the air thick with diesel fumes and the promise of a long ride home. It was 104 degrees, July in Houston, the kind of heat that made you mean. Tristan adjusted his vest, the president's patch sitting heavy on his chest, the Thunderhead rider's rocker across his back, Houston underneath it, 63 years old, with storm cloud eyes that had seen too much and hands scarred from decades of wrenches, bar fights, and one tour in Vietnam he didn't talk about. He'd buried friends, done time, lost people he loved. But nothing prepared him for what came running out of that heat shimmer. She was maybe 8 years old, blonde hair matted against her skull, yellow sundress torn at the hem and streaked with something dark. Her feet were bare. Bleeding. She was hyperventilating so hard her whole body shook, and she was running straight at him. Tristan's hand shot out instinctively as she slammed into his bike, tiny fingers clawing at his vest, her face tilted up, tears cutting clean lines through the dirt on her cheeks. "Please?" Her voice cracked like breaking glass. "They locked my mom in the basement. She can't breathe. Save her." The parking lot went silent. 100 engines idling. 100 men staring. Tristan looked down at those small, trembling hands gripping his leather. He'd seen that look before. Real terror. The kind that doesn't lie. "Who locked her up, darlin'?" His voice was gravel and smoke. But the little girl was already collapsing, her knees buckling. And somewhere in Houston, a clock was ticking. Tristan caught her before she hit the pavement. His knees cracked as he knelt down, old Vietnam shrapnel reminding him he wasn't young anymore, but his grip was steady. He turned her face toward his, one calloused thumb wiping blood from her split lip. "Look at me, darling. Look right here." His voice was low, controlled, the same tone he'd used talking down bar fights and scared recruits. "I need you to tell me where. Can you do that?" She nodded, hiccuping through sobs. "Lyons Avenue, 5th Ward, the yellow house with the broken fence." Tristan's jaw tightened. 5th Ward, Northeast Houston, the kind of neighborhood where cops took their time showing up. Behind him, boots hit asphalt. Hammer stepped forward first. Dutch Kowalski, 6'4" and built like a bulldozer, bald head gleaming with sweat, arms thick as telephone poles. Road captain, former construction foreman who'd done 2 years in Huntsville for putting a man through a wall. "We rolling, Prez?" Next came preacher, Ray Fontaine, lean and gray-eyed, a Louisville slugger strapped across his back like a sword. Sergeant at arms, soft-spoken until he wasn't. He'd gotten his road name after putting 3 men in the hospital outside a church parking lot and never raising his voice once. "Address?" Preacher's drawl was pure East Texas. Lyons Avenue. Tristan stood, lifting Serena with him. She weighed nothing. Fifth Ward. Doc stepped up. Jimmy Raines, silver-haired with steady hands, and an old Army medic bag bungee-corded to his sissy bar. Vietnam, same as Tristan. He'd stitched up more club members than any ER in Harris County. How long she been in that basement? Doc's eyes were already assessing Serena's condition. Dehydration, shock, possible heat stroke. I don't know. Serena's voice was barely a whisper. Since yesterday. A muscle jumped in Tristan's jaw. Yesterday. In this heat. Wrench jogged up last. Billy Cade, youngest member at 26, forearms black with grease stains, eager like a pup wanting to prove himself. Need me to call? No! Tristan's voice cut like a blade. No cops. Not yet. He looked around the parking lot. 99 men, 99 motorcycles. Every single one of them staring at him, engines idling, waiting for the word. Tristan didn't ask for a vote, didn't need to. We ride. Leather creaked as men mounted up. Kickstands snapped up in unison. Hammer rolled his shoulders. Preacher checked the slugger. Doc pulled his medic bag forward. Wrench cracked his knuckles, grinning. Tristan lifted Serena onto his bike, settled her in front of him on the gas tank, her tiny hands gripping his vest so tight her knuckles went white. Hold on to me, baby girl. Don't let go. I won't! He kicked his Road King to life. The engine roared. Then, like thunder rolling across the plains, 99 more Harleys fired up behind him. The sound shook the windows of Buck E's, made the asphalt vibrate, turned heads on the interstate. Tristan twisted the throttle, and 100 Thunderhead riders roared out of that parking lot like the wrath of God made chrome and leather. But none of them knew what they'd find in that basement, or if they were already too late. The convoy hit I-45 like a steel avalanche. Tristan led the charge, Serena pressed against his chest, her small body trembling with every gear shift. Behind him, 99 Harleys roared in formation, two wide stretching back a quarter-mile, chrome flashing in the brutal sunlight. Cars pulled onto shoulders. An 18-wheeler honked in solidarity. They merged onto 610, engines screaming, weaving through traffic like wolves through trees. Tell me what happened, baby girl. Tristan kept his voice steady over the wind. Start from the beginning. Serena's words came in gasps between sobs. My daddy died 6 months ago. Her fingers dug tighter into his vest. Oil rig. Near Galveston. Explosion. Mama said he didn't suffer, but I heard her crying every night. Tristan's jaw clenched. Oil rig. Good man. Hard worker. Gone in fire and smoke. Tale as old as Texas itself. Mama's a nurse. Ben, Taub Hospital. She works all the time now. Double shifts. Triple sometimes. Serena hiccuped. But it wasn't enough. The lights got shut off. Then the water. She took out a loan. The exit for Lyons Avenue appeared. Tristan signaled. The convoy followed like a mechanical beast with one mind. How much? His voice was granite. $2,000. For Daddy's funeral. Serena's voice dropped to a whisper. But the men said she owed $8,000 now. Mama tried to explain she couldn't pay that much. They didn't care. They turned onto Lyon Avenue. Cracked sidewalks, chain-link fences, houses with bars on windows. The Fifth Ward hadn't changed since Tristan was young, still forgotten, still struggling, still proud. Two men, Deacon Wade, They came yesterday morning. Serena was shaking harder now. Mama was getting ready for work. They pushed inside, started yelling, grabbed her hair. Behind them, Hammer revved his engine, a growl of barely contained rage. When Mama said she needed more time, Deke, Serena's voice cracked. He hit her. Wade dragged her to the basement. They locked her in. Told me, your mama's collateral now. Tristan's knuckles went white on the handlebars. They locked me in my room, but the window, it was already broken from last month. I squeezed through, ran, just kept running until I saw your bikes. The yellow house appeared ahead, peeling paint, broken fence, chain link sagging like an old man's spine. Tristan slowed. The convoy rolled to a stop behind him, engines idling like breathing thunder. Doc pulled up alongside. How long? Over 24 hours. Tristan's voice was ice. In this heat. They dismounted, boots on concrete, 99 men surrounding one small house. And from somewhere inside, a sound, faint, desperate, someone pounding on wood. Hammer didn't wait for orders. He grabbed a crowbar from his saddlebag and crossed the yard in 4 strides, boots crushing dead grass. The basement entrance was around back, a rusted metal door set into the foundation, padlock hanging from a hasp like a jailer's promise. Move! Hammer jammed the crowbar behind the lock. Muscles bunched across his shoulders. Metal screamed. The padlock snapped clean off, hit the dirt with a thud. Tristan was already there, flashlight in hand. Doc right behind him with his medic bag. The door swung open. Heat poured out, thick, suffocating like opening an oven. The smell hit next. Sweat, fear, urine, human suffering concentrated into one small space. Jolene! Tristan shouted down the stairs. Jolene Vaughn, we're coming down! No answer. Just that weak pounding, slower now, desperate. Tristan descended first, flashlight beam cutting through darkness. Concrete steps, spider webs. The temperature had to be 120 degrees down here, maybe more. No windows, no air, a death trap. His light found her. Jolene Vaughn lay on her side on the concrete floor, blonde hair plastered to her skull with sweat. Nurse scrubs, blue, soaked dark, clinging to her frame. Hands zip-tied behind her back, duct tape across her mouth. Her eyes were closed, chest rising and falling in shallow, rapid breaths. Doc, now! Tristan dropped to his knees beside her. Doc was already moving, bag open, hands steady, despite the rage burning in his eyes. He pressed 2 fingers to her neck. Pulse is weak. Thready. She's cooked. Tristan pulled his knife, cut the zip ties. Her wrists were raw, bleeding. Doc peeled the duct tape off gently. Her lips underneath were cracked and bleeding, tongue swollen. Jolene, can you hear me? Doc's voice was calm, clinical. We're getting you out. Her eyelids fluttered but didn't open. Dehydration? Heat exhaustion? Maybe heat stroke. Doc was already prepping an IV. We need to cool her down, fast. Tristan scooped her up like she weighed nothing. She probably didn't weigh much more than Serena. He carried her up into daylight, thunderhead riders parting like a sea. He laid her in the shade of the porch. Doc went to work, and then Serena saw her. Mama! The child's scream cut through everything. She threw herself forward, collapsed onto her mother's chest, sobbing so hard her whole body convulsed. Mama, please, please wake up! Jolene's eyes fluttered open, pale, unfocused, but they found Serena's face. Her cracked lips moved. Baby. The word was barely a whisper. Doc inserted the IV, started fluids. "Stay with us, Jolene, you hear me?" "Stay with us." But her eyes were closing again. And that's when Preacher's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, looked at Tristan. "Boss, we got a problem." Tristan's jaw tightened. "What?" "Deke and Wade. They just posted on Facebook." Preacher turned the phone around. The photo showed two men, grinning, holding beers. The caption read, "Collecting our collateral tomorrow. Hash pay up. Business is business." They were coming back. "Get me wet towels. Ice if anyone's got it. Move." Doc's voice cut through the chaos. Thunderhead riders scattered. Wrench ran to a corner store. Hammer kicked in Jolene's front door looking for towels. 3 prospects formed a perimeter around the yard like sentries. Doc worked fast. Second IV bag, monitoring her pulse every 30 seconds. Wet towels across her forehead, neck, wrists. Anywhere blood ran close to skin, cooling her down degree by degree. Across the street, porch doors cracked open. Faces appeared, mostly black and brown, mostly poor, watching 100 white bikers swarming a yellow house in their neighborhood. Some looked scared, but more looked relieved, like they'd been waiting for someone to finally do something. An older woman in a house dress called out, "That's Jolene. She a good woman. Those men been terrorizing this block for months." Tristan nodded at her, kept his focus on Jolene. 20 minutes in, her eyes opened, really opened, focused. "Serena?" Her voice was sandpaper. "I'm here, Mama. I'm here." Serena pressed her face against her mother's neck, sobbing. Jolene's arms came up, weak, shaking, and wrapped around her daughter. "Oh, God. Oh, baby. I'm so sorry." "Don't apologize." Doc checked her pulse again, stronger. "You're stable. You're going to be okay." Tears ran down Jolene's face, mixing with sweat and dirt. "I thought I was going to die down there. Thought I'd never see her again." Tristan crouched beside them. "Who did this?" "Full names." Jolene's jaw tightened. "Deke Hollister, Wade Grimes. They run a payday loan operation out of a pawn shop on Telephone Road. Cash King Pawn." "How much did you borrow?" $2,000. Her voice broke. "For Ray's funeral. My husband. He died 6 months ago. Oil rig explosion. I couldn't afford to bury him. They said they'd help. And now? They claim I owe $8,000, 400% interest, compounding weekly." Jolene looked at Serena, fresh tears falling. "I tried to explain I'm a nurse. I work doubles. Triples at Ben Taub, but I couldn't make the payments. Deke said—" She stopped, swallowed hard. "What did he say, ma'am?" Preacher's voice was soft, dangerous. "He said if I didn't pay by Friday, they'd take Serena instead." Jolene's hands tightened on her daughter. "Said she'd work off the debt." He grabbed her hair, touched her face. The temperature in the yard dropped 20 degrees. Hammer's knuckles cracked like gunshots. Wrench's face went white with rage. Preacher's hand moved to the Louisville Slugger on his back. Tristan stood slowly, looked at his brothers, looked back at Jolene. "They ain't taking nobody." His voice was cold iron. "And they ain't coming back." He turned to Preacher and Hammer. "Find them, tonight." Hammer grinned, nothing friendly in it. "What do we do when we find them?" Tristan's eyes were storm clouds before lightning. You make sure they understand that Jolene Vaughn is under Thunderhead protection now. And anyone who touches her, or that little girl—" He paused, let the silence hang. "Anyone who touches them answers to all of us." Preacher pulled out his phone, started scrolling, found something, showed Hammer. "Cash King Pawn, Telephone Road. They're open till 9. Hammer checked his watch. "It's 7:30. Tristan nodded once. "Then we got 90 minutes. 10 bikes fired up. And somewhere across Houston, Deke Hollister had no idea that hell was coming for him on 2 wheels. The neon sign for Cash King Pawn flickered yellow and red against the twilight, a beacon for desperation on Telephone Road. Payday loans, title loans. We buy gold. The American poverty trap wrapped in peeling vinyl siding. 10 Harleys pulled into the lot. Engines cut. Silence fell like a hammer. Preacher walked in first. Hammer and Wrench flanked him. 7 other Thunderhead riders stayed outside, arms crossed, blocking both exits. The shop smelled like cigarettes, gun oil, and broken dreams. Glass cases full of pawned wedding rings. Guitars nobody would reclaim. A counter separating the predators from their prey. Behind it stood 2 men. Deke Hollister, 40-something, receding hairline, polo shirt stretched over a beer gut, gold chain thick as a dog collar. He looked up from his phone, annoyed. Wade Grimes, younger, skinny, neck tattoos, too much cologne trying to cover the stink of violence. "We're closing," Deke said without looking up. Preacher stopped 3 feet from the counter. Didn't blink. "Jolene Vaughn." Deke's eyes flicked up. Something crossed his face. Recognition, then amusement. "What about her?" "Her debt's paid, in full. You're done with her." Deke laughed. Actually laughed. Set his phone down. "Who the hell are you?" "The people who pulled her out of that basement you locked her in." Preacher's voice never rose. "In 120-degree heat. For 30 hours. With her 8-year-old daughter watching." Wade shifted. His hand moved toward something under the counter. Hammer's voice rumbled like distant thunder. "I wouldn't." Deke stood up straighter, puffed his chest. "Look, buddy, I don't know what that bitch told you." Preacher moved so fast Deke didn't see it coming. One hand shot across the counter, grabbed Deke's collar, yanked him forward until their faces were inches apart. "Call her that again. See what happens." Deke's cocky smile faltered. "This is my shop, my business. That loan's legal." 400% interest on a funeral loan? Wrench spat. "To a widow? That ain't legal. That's predation." Deke wrenched himself back. His hand dropped below the counter. Came up holding a chrome .38 revolver. "Get out!" The gun was pointed at Preacher's chest. Nobody moved. Then Hammer's fist came down like a falling anvil, one brutal strike to Deke's wrist. Bone cracked. The gun clattered to the floor. Deke screamed. Preacher picked up the .38, checked the cylinder, smiled without warmth. "Loaded. You were really going to shoot me over $8,000. Hammer came around the counter. Deke tried to run. Hammer caught him by the neck, slammed him face first onto the glass case. It cracked under the impact. Wade froze, hands up, shaking. Preacher set his boot on Deke's broken wrist, applied pressure. Deke howled. "Listen very carefully." Preacher's voice was preacher soft. "You're done in Houston. Every shop, every street corner, every place you do business. Thunderhead riders know about it now. We know your suppliers, your customers, your routes, your home address." He leaned down, whispered close to Deke's ear. You ever come near Jolene or Serena Vaughn again? You even think their names. We'll bury you where nobody finds you. Understood?" Deke nodded frantically, tears streaming. Preacher straightened, pocketed the revolver, looked at Wade. "You got anything to say?" Wade shook his head so hard his neck tattoos blurred. "Smart man." The bikers walked out. Engines fired up, they rolled. By midnight, Cash King Pawn was dark. By morning, it was empty. Deke and Wade were gone. Out of Houston, out of Texas. Never came back. But as Preacher rode back toward the Fifth Ward, his phone buzzed. A text from Tristan. "House is secure, but we got another problem. Jolene's bank account is negative $340. Rent's due Friday. She's got nothing left." Preacher looked at Hammer. Hammer looked at Wrench. They all thought the same thing. Saving her from the basement was just the beginning. Tristan held out his leather riding cap. "Pass it around." They were back in Jolene's front yard, all 100 Thunderhead riders, engines silent, standing in a circle under the streetlights. Jolene sat on the porch steps, Serena in her lap, watching with wide, disbelieving eyes. The cap moved from rider to rider. Wallets came out. Bills appeared. 20s, 50s, hundreds. Some guys emptied their pockets completely. Wrench pulled out his entire paycheck from the garage, $680, still in the envelope. "Kid, you need that for rent," Hammer said. "I got a couch. She's got a daughter." Wrench dropped it in. 20 minutes. The cap made it back to Tristan, heavy as a newborn. He walked it to Jolene, set it in her hands. She looked inside. Her face went white. I can't. Count it." Her hands shook as she pulled out the bills. Counted, recounted, stopped breathing. $8,000. Tears streamed down her face. "This is... Oh my God. Your debt's paid. Your rent's paid. Your lights stay on." Tristan crouched in front of her. "And we ain't done." Over the next 2 weeks, the yellow house on Lyons Avenue transformed. Hammer showed up at sunrise with a crew and a pickup full of lumber. They tore off the rotted roof, replaced shingles, fixed the sagging porch. The sound of hammers echoed through the Fifth Ward like a heartbeat. Wrench rewired the electrical, replaced the ancient breaker box, fixed outlets that sparked, installed ceiling fans in every room. When he opened the walls, he found rat-chewed wiring that could have burned the house down. He ripped it all out, started fresh. Other riders painted the exterior, fresh yellow, bright as hope, replaced broken windows, installed deadbolts on every door, motion sensor lights on the corners. Doc organized a food drive. 3 days later, Jolene's refrigerator was packed. Milk, eggs, meat, vegetables. Her pantry looked like a grocery store, enough to last months. Security cameras went up, 4 angles covering the house. And every night, 2 Thunderhead riders parked their bikes on the corner. Different riders. Same message. This house is protected. Neighbors stopped being scared of the bikers, started waving, bringing them coffee. An older woman named Miss Dorothy brought a plate of fried chicken. "Y'all are angels," she said. "Dangerous-looking angels, but angels." Jolene went back to work at Ben Taub. Double shifts again, but different now. She had a cushion, had backup, had family, and Serena? She started smiling again. Every time Tristan's Harley rumbled up the street, she'd burst through the front door and run barefoot across the yard, yellow sundress flying arms wide. "Grandpa Tristan!" The first time she called him that, Tristan's throat closed up so tight he couldn't speak. He just picked her up, held her, felt something broken inside him start to heal. He'd bring her books, stories about brave girls and dragons, ice cream from the corner store. One Saturday, he taught her how to sit on his bike with the engine off, showed her the clutch, the throttle, the brake. "When I'm bigger, can I ride with you?" "When you're bigger," he promised, "I'll teach you to ride your own." But late one night, after everyone had left, Jolene pulled Tristan aside on the porch. Her eyes were red. "What happens when you leave?" Her voice cracked. "When this ends?" Tristan looked at her, really looked at her. "Ma'am, with all respect, you still don't understand." "Understand what?" He glanced at Serena through the window, asleep on the couch, clutching a stuffed bear one of the riders had bought her. "This doesn't end. You're Thunderhead family now." He tapped his chest, where the patch sat. "That's forever." Jolene's lip trembled. "Why? Why would you do all this for us?" Tristan's jaw worked. He looked away. "Because I lost my granddaughter 6 years ago. Foster system took her after my daughter overdosed. I wasn't there to save her." He swallowed hard. "But I was there for Serena. And that's got to count for something." Behind them, a motorcycle engine roared to life down the street. Both of them turned, but it wasn't a Thunderhead bike. It was a black Kawasaki. No club patch. Rider wearing a full-face helmet. He was stopped 3 houses down, watching. The black Kawasaki disappeared before Tristan could move, but he made a call. Within 20 minutes, 2 Thunderhead riders were posted on the block, every night, without fail. And Tristan? He started coming by 3 times a week instead of 1. Tuesday afternoons, he'd roll up with books tucked in his saddlebag, stories about pirates and brave girls and impossible adventures. He'd sit on the porch steps while Serena curled up next to him, her head against his leather vest, listening to his gravelly voice turn pages. Thursdays, he brought ice cream, Bluebell vanilla, because that's what Texas kids ate. They'd sit in the shade and let it melt down their fingers while Serena told him about school, about her friends, about the science project she was building. Saturdays were for motorcycles. Tristan would park his Road King in the driveway, engine off, and lift Serena onto the seat. Show her where everything was, the clutch, the throttle, the front brake, the shifter. She'd grip the handlebars with both tiny hands, face serious as a heart attack, pretending to ride while making engine noises with her mouth. "Vroom, vroom, I'm going 100 miles an hour. Not without a helmet, you ain't." And he'd plop his own helmet on her head, so big it swallowed her whole face. She'd giggle until she couldn't breathe. The other Thunderhead riders became uncles without asking permission. Hammer taught her to use a hammer, real carpentry, building a birdhouse in the backyard. Wrench showed her how engines worked, let her hold wrenches and name the parts. Doc brought her a toy medical kit and taught her how to wrap bandages. "Never know when you'll need to save somebody," he said, winking. The Fifth Ward changed too. People who'd crossed the street when bikers rode through now waved. Kids asked to see the motorcycles. Miss Dorothy started cooking Sunday dinners for whatever Thunderhead riders were on patrol. "Y'all too skinny. Eat." One afternoon, Jolene found Tristan on the porch, watching Serena play hopscotch in the driveway. She sat beside him, hands wrapped around a coffee mug. "You saved our lives." Her voice was soft. "How do I ever repay that?" Tristan was quiet for a long moment. Watched Serena laughing, hopping, safe. "You already did." He looked at Jolene. "You gave me a reason to keep riding." "I don't understand." 6 years ago, I lost my granddaughter. Lily. his voice roughened. My daughter, Lily's mama, she got hooked on pills. Oxy. Couldn't get clean. CPS took Lily, put her in foster care. I tried to get custody, but he shook his head. Records too long. Priors. Prison time. Judge said I wasn't fit. Jolene's hand covered her mouth. Lost track of her in the system. Don't even know where she is now. I failed her. He paused, swallowed. But I didn't fail Serena. And every time I see that little girl smile, I feel like maybe I ain't completely broken. Tears ran down Jolene's cheeks. She reached over, squeezed his scarred hand. You're not broken. You're exactly what we needed. Tristan nodded, didn't trust himself to speak. Out in the driveway, Serena looked up, saw them watching, broke into a grin and waved. Grandpa Tristan! Mama! Watch this! She landed a perfect hopscotch jump and threw her arms up like an Olympic gymnast. Tristan laughed, deep and genuine, the kind of laugh that shakes your ribs. For the first time in 6 years, the crushing weight in his chest lifted, just a little, just enough. But that night, as Tristan rode home alone, his phone buzzed. Text from Preacher. That black Kawasaki showed up again. Got a partial plate, running it now. You should see this. Attached was a photo, grainy, taken from a security camera. The rider's helmet was off, and Tristan recognized the face. It was Deke Hollister. He hadn't left Houston after all. 6 months later. Deke Hollister was gone. Really gone this time. Preacher and Hammer had made sure of it. One midnight visit, one final warning delivered with a Louisville Slugger resting on Deke's kitchen table. By sunrise, he was out of Texas. For good. But today wasn't about Deke. Today was about Serena. The front yard of the yellow house on Lyon Avenue was packed with Thunderhead riders, 100 men in leather vests, standing around folding tables loaded with BBQ, potato salad, and a birthday cake the size of a truck tire. 9 candles flickered in the Houston breeze. Serena wore a new yellow sundress. Not torn, not bloody. Clean, bright. Her feet had shoes. Her face glowed. Tristan stepped forward, holding a small bundle wrapped in leather. The yard went quiet. Engines idled. Serena Vaughn. His voice carried. 6 months ago, you ran to us when the world failed you. You trusted us when you had no reason to. And you reminded every man here what we're supposed to protect. He unfolded the bundle. A leather vest, child-sized, custom-made, black as midnight. On the back, hand-stitched in white thread, Thunderhead Family. Serena's eyes went wide. Tristan knelt down, held it open. You're one of ours now. Always protected, always family. He slipped it over her shoulders. It fit perfectly. The yard erupted, engines revving, men shouting, fists pumping the air. Serena spun around, grinning so wide it looked like her face might split. Jolene stepped forward, tears streaming. She looked at the 100 men surrounding her daughter like a fortress of chrome and leather. You gave us our lives back. Her voice shook. You restored my faith in people, in humanity. Thank you, all of you. Hammer wiped his eyes. Doc nodded. Preacher raised his beer. Tristan lifted Serena onto his Road King. This time, the engine was on. You ready for your first real ride? She grabbed the handlebars, helmet secure, vest flapping in the wind. I was born ready, Grandpa Tristan. He twisted the throttle. The bike rumbled, and behind them 99 Harleys fired up in unison, a rolling storm of protective thunder. They rode slow around the block. Serena laughing, Jolene waving, neighbors cheering. The little girl who'd run barefoot and bleeding across scorching asphalt now sat tall and safe, surrounded by men the world called outlaws, but who'd proven to be her family when it mattered most. The world is full of predators. But as long as men like old Tristan and the Thunderhead riders keep their engines running and their eyes open, the innocent will always have someone to call when darkness closes in. Blood makes you related, but showing up when it matters, that's what makes you family. If you believe that real family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up when the world walks away, then like and share this story. Subscribe now for more stories where honor, loyalty, and protection still mean something. Also, check out the 2 videos showing on the screen right now, specially crafted for you, stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things when it matters most.